Resurgent India Knowledge Series presents live webinar on Sustainable Practices and ESG Integration in MSMEs. Moderator Mr. Ashutosh Kumar Mishra, Managing Partner Anbe Legal Advisor, IIM Vishakhapatnam. Eminent speakers Dr. Ananta Singh Raghuvanshi, President Founder Member, NERDCO, Mahi. Mr. Pranay Kumar, Executive Director, REPL.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Ashutosh Mishra here, and I'm the moderator for this session. And welcome all of you in this webinar on sustainable practices, ESG integration in MSMEs. We have two important and prominent speaker with us. I'll start with their introduction. That is Dr. Ananta Singh Raghuvanshi, President and Founder, member of NERDCO, Mahi, and also Mr. Pranay Kumar, ED, REPL. So, today's topic is, everybody knows about ESG in a sense that, we have been talking about ESG, but how to implement those standards, that's always a challenge. And when we start talking about MSMEs, I think they are the future of this country. But at the same time, there are challenges in implementation of ESG. So there are certain datas. I would like to start my discussion on those points itself. So, as per one of the surveys, Indian companies lose around 7,138 billions due to the climate-related risks, and these MSMEs consumes approximately 25% of the industrial sector's energy and contributing to over 72 million metric tons of the CO2 emissions. So, as we know that ESG has a three important dimensions. One is, of course, the environmental. Second is the social, and third most important is the governance. Why I said, am I audible? Sorry to interrupt in between. Yeah, so there has been some. So, of course, my workload has been come down because there are two eminent speakers, and I'm sure they will be speaking more on E and S. But coming a background from the legal background and also working with the CII on the governance aspect, uh, I'll be talking more on the governance aspect for the next 10 minutes, and then we will initiate the discussions. So the governance, for me, G is in the E and also in the S, because nothing can succeed if we don't have a good governance. That is something. G is, for me, is double G. That is good governance, because governance, it can be good or bad also. So the point is what we are going to implement. That is also important, but how to implement those challenges are there. Of course, I'll not deny it. And when it comes to the MSMEs, and based on my experience, I'd say that governance takes a back burner. Okay. So I'm starting with the G part, but that doesn't mean that E and S is not important. Of course, E and S is important. But what I'm trying to convey to the participant is that if we focus on the G part, E and S will have an improvement, because governance part take care of the environmental issues also, as well as the social challenges that our companies do face. Now, the governance, when we start talking about governance, what comes into our mind? Okay, if it's a government company, of course, what comes in mind is a vigilance, those things, compliance. For the private sector, yes, of course, you have a bigger companies have a compliance officers, those things are in place. But for the MSMEs, few questions comes to our mind is whether we are in position to invest on the governance part, whether there is a need. Of course, there is a need. That is my firm believer. But what is the value addition that by focusing on G, this MSME will get? So my perspective is that G is not to be just seen in, about the broader. I mean, we have to see a broader picture. A broader picture maybe if you improve your supply chain, there is a chance that there is a chance that I'll become a part of a global supply chain also. G in a longer run will help the companies. And I can give you an examples. We all go through the newspapers, news channels also. We'll find that there are a number of companies who have been in news because of a poor governance structure. And governance is something which is not done in a day. This is a culture of the organization which has to be built over a period of time. So to start with, I think the focus may be on compliance, because many times we start talking about moving beyond compliance. The focus has been already in compliance, but the G part also include a major component of ethics. Ethics is beyond the compliance. Ethics is, the quality of the product that we come out. Ethics is also not just complying with the law, but also those part which is also beneficial for the society at a large. So those important parameters should be also kept in mind. Uh, One questions may come in our mind is that it's very easier to talk about all this. What is an incentive? So incentive is one question that I would like to address at the last for the governance. Second is that what is the cost? The cost, are we ready to bear that cost? Cost can be, there are a number of cases which get reported, and people go into disputes because our governance structure has not been very tight. Maybe many times we commit mistakes, we get penalized on those aspects. If we improve it, for example, we have this concept of sustainable reporting. We have this concept of BSR, business sustainability reporting. So those concepts also take care of uh, the governance part as well. Maybe one of the aspect is a whistleblowing helpline. So I'm not saying that everything has to be implemented, but if we had this, you know, urge, and also if we feel it is important, there is a chance that things may go in our favor if we start focusing on the smaller steps. Not necessarily that you have to have a full compliance team to focus on the governance aspect, but just to start with, maybe a contractual documents, compliance with the law, maybe a single steps. So I'll stop it here. I'll come back on those parts which are not addressed right now, and I'll start with the discussion with one of the speaker, Mr. Pranay Kumar, and Executive Director, REPL. Sir, I'll start with you. And my question to you is, given the growing emphasis on ESG standards, like the EU Eco Designs for Sustainable Products Regulation, ESPR, which key products will Indian MSME needs to adopt to strengthen their access to the trade finance solutions? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. Now, coming to the question which you have asked, is very relevant, and for the people who are uninitiated in that area, the problem has started, or the challenge has started not now, in 2022, when EU was mulling over that idea of coming out with some regulations. The first they came out in January 2023, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, wherein they came out with a requirement that people should start reporting what sustainability they are adopting. The next one came in October 2023, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. This is something very interesting, wherein which puts a price on the carbon emitted during the production of imported goods. So it had two connotations. Once it was pricing. Second, it was particularly fixating to the people they are importing to European Union. So naturally, countries like India was impacted. The next one came, which was still bigger, that Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. They identify, mitigate, and also report on the impact of their operations and supply chain. So all these were creating the challenge. And the other important aspect which was added in this at April 2024 was human rights. Now, it was not only sustainability, but also human rights. So put together, it was creating, and then the lastly which came in July, is that eco design for sustainable product regulation. So ESPR, as it is known, it came in July. All these lead, put together created what? What are the industries in India getting impacted? So there are electrical and electronics equipment, organic chemicals, mineral and fuel oil, iron and steel, machinery, nuclear reactors, pearls, precious stones. There are many things which were getting imported or say exported from India to those locations. And in a study made by Council of Energy, Environment and Water, CEEW, approximately $37 billion of export would be impacted. Naturally, are we ready for this? The real issue lies in terms of emissions tracing and training our people for these processes. People in Tirupur who are exporting textiles, they are impacted because they are not able to report how much emissions they have spent. Though, mind you, they are using solar energy. So one side they are energy efficient, but at the same time they are not able to entirely document these in the product they have, and as a result, they are being impacted. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Pranay. Coming to you, ma'am, Dr. Ananta. So I have a question for you. What steps do MSMEs in the water-intensive industries need to take to improve their water efficiency?
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It was a pleasure listening to you, Pranay. And a very good evening to all our 700 people who have registered to listen to us. First and foremost, let me just, uncomplicate this whole topic in the first place. So, when you talk of MSME, what exactly is MSME? It's basically your micro, small, and medium industries, which contribute hugely to the economic development of the country. So we need a very vibrant MSME sector, which means that there has to be huge development in the MSME sector. On the other side, we're talking about sustainable development. Now, that itself is an oxymoron because development, it's difficult to make development sustainable in the first place. All right. Now we have to find a very tricky balancing act to make sure that our two resources, key resources, which is water and power, are replenished. So that is the balance that we are trying to strike here. So हमारे जो सूक्ष्म, लघु और मध्यम वर्ग के ये इंडस्ट्रीज हैं, इनमें हम वाटर और पावर दोनों की सेविंग किस तरह से करें? Water being an immediate concern, because water saving is the easiest to do and the need of the hour as well. Now, what happens is कि water ka, if we are careful, right at the source itself, 30% saving can happen. You know, even in our homes, forget about industry, even in our homes, आप एक अपने टैप पे 40 रुपए का एरेटर लगा देते हैं, तो आपका फ्लो उसमें carefully आता है. So that itself is 30% saving. Now, today, super specialists are available who can do a proper water audit, where all wastages are happening, where all it can be carefully saved, give you a proper report, give you a proper plan. And that is also your ultimate product when you are selling it. The top international companies put a sticker that, this was saved. You walk into a simple restaurant, you go to soda bottle opener wala, the water bottle that he will put there, you're going for a simple meal. It'll say, please pour only as much as you can drink. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the easiest thing and the most important thing today for us is to save water. Now, sustainable means what? It means that you meet your needs without compromising on the future generations' requirements. Whatever you are using, make sure you replenish it, you give it back. And it is the easiest thing to do, because if you are saving that much water, like they say, a penny saved is a penny earned. So every drop here matters. Now, just to make sure that we are all on the same page, India's consumption of water is 30 trillion gallons. Okay, which is actually nothing if you compare it with USA, where it is 216 trillion gallons. But why this whole worry? In fact, my association, Neredco, which is 11,000 builders all over India, they are working so aggressively to save water because that is also all about development. And a lot of those people who are building material suppliers and various others fall into the MSME category as well. Why? Because we have 18% of the world population and we only have 3% of fresh water reserves available in our country today. So it is like these are scary numbers. We are very soon going to be a water scarce country. And if we have to stop that, MSMEs have to make their contribution as well. Till 2023, about 3 crore MSMEs were registered with the ministry. So if these 3 crore MSMEs contribute to water saving, which is very measurable, that this is what it was earlier, this is what we have saved, I think it's a huge step forward. It's just that we need to be conscious that we need to do this. So first step to sustainability as far as water and power is concerned is be conscious of it. Thank you, Ashutosh.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really insightful to also know the importance of the saving water that we, generally learn in our households also when we say that we need to save the water from the ROs also. And there has been a lot of instruments also coming on. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Over to you, sir. There's also one question that is, though MSMEs are currently largely exempted from the ESG compliance, it is evident that they will soon need to align with these standards when programs like MSC are in place. Does the government need to ramp up incentives? Because also that's very important in a sense, because I also wanted to know what is in it for, these are the drivers for the MSMEs to adopt those standards.
Ashutosh, this question is directed at me or at Pranay? Sorry, I lost your voice.
You lost my voice? Am I
Yeah,
audible?
yes. Yes, now you are.
Pranay,
Yeah.
sir. This is for the Pranay, sir.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are.
Okay. Pranay, sir, can you hear me? So coming to you, ma'am, and once sir get
Yeah.
connected. Yeah. So connecting with these questions only, what are the key challenges for MSME in upgrading to the water efficient system? This is very relevant question. I think I'm also
Right.
to know more about it.
Right. So Ashutosh, the first challenge is the knowledge itself, right? Having the knowledge about how you can save water, where you can save water. The second is a cost aspect, right? Because whenever you upgrade technology, there is a certain cost involved, and that cost impact becomes very difficult for an MSME to absorb. So, one is knowledge, the other is cost. Third is, even if both these two are available, to have the will and desire and to feel that sensitivity towards the environment, which is that whole passion for, yes, we want to do it right. Yes, we want to save water for the future. So that desire or that willingness to do it, all these are, of course, there. But there are solutions also, right? Now, what are the solutions? The solutions are that, for MSMEs, there is a scheme in 2004 only, CLCSS, Credit Linked Capital Subsidy Scheme, the scheme, where they facilitate technology upgradations for MSMEs by providing them from capital, So there's a certain amount which can be given to them. Also, there are budget loan limit increases which have happened this year from 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs. So if suitably utilized and employed, these things, the sources, the financial resource part can be taken care of. As far as the knowledge part is concerned, for that, we are so grateful to Resurgent and also to you, Ashutosh, for sparing your valuable time and doing a webinar of this nature. Because this knowledge has to go all over, It is, if everyone thinks about it, if everyone hears about it, only then, a movement starts. If you are not even thinking that it is a serious point, then how will it happen? The implementation, how will it happen? Like I said, it is measurable. So if 3 crore MSMEs are registered, how many have already adopted all this? How many have not adopted all this? Can we provide them the knowledge? Can we try to motivate them to have the will? It is not such a big number. When you break down a problem into small, and MSMEs are also in 3 categories, like I said earlier: micro, small, and medium. You can start with medium and then go down to micro. The startups are already very conscious on all this because they have a reputation, they have an image at stake. And let's not forget, sustainable, ESG, all these are new words. The first time it was heard was in the Brundtland report in 1987, when sustainable as a concept got better known, that there is something like sustainable also. Before that, there was no thought or action going in that direction, and everywhere in corporate circles, you talk about integrity, leadership, right? Planetary integrity, again, is a very recent concept, which has only gathered momentum now. So these are the challenges: knowledge, finances. If the cost of the end product goes up, who will bridge that gap? And again, I will go to my favorite topic, which is water. See, from MSME point of view or even otherwise, the most water intensive industry, okay? Thermal power plants, followed by pulp, paper, textile, iron, and steel. So even if we were to tackle this area in space and do a reduction here, half the battle is already won. Right? Thank you.
Over to you, Pranay sir. I have a question for you. The question is, though MSMEs are currently largely exempt from the ESG compliance, it is evident that they will soon need to align with these standards. While programs like MSc GIFT are in place, does the government need to ramp up incentives, sir?
Yeah. Ashutosh, if I would like to start from what the national objective is, that UNFCCC, which is known as United Nations Framework of Convention on Climate Change, India has taken an internal goal of going to 2070, where we'll go for net zero. But there is an intermediate milestone that we have committed to reducing emissions intensity by 45% by 2030 over 2005 level. Now, next come how that MSME we look at it. They contribute around 30% of Indian GDP today. They contribute around 62% of the employment and 45% of the manufacturing output. So naturally, when they employ so many and contribute to at least 30% of GDP, their role is very significant. They disproportionately, employ more people, and their presence is higher in manufacturing. So the promotion and adoption of green technologies can easily help. Now, World Bank had come out with one requirement, one policy. They call it raising and accelerating MSME performance. They launched in 2022. And under that, Government of India launched 2 policies. One is MSE, not ME, because they're limited to micro, small enterprise, medium they avoided. MSE Green, which they talked about GIFT. GIFT was giving subsidy in interest subvention. It was limited to accessing institutional finance at a concessional rate. The other one was already there, is MSc Spice. That is a scheme for promotion of investment in circular economy. Now, circular economy, I'm sure that our honorable political wise audience would be knowing this. Here, what is the capital subsidy? Around 25% of the subsidy. For uninitiated, I can tell that circular economy it enables MSC to optimize resource uses by promoting recycling, reuse, and responsible consumption. This reduces environment footprint and enhances operational efficiency and also leads to cost effectiveness. The central government has been doing many other things as well, which is not linked to these schemes. But coming to these schemes itself, around, if I look to last year's outlay, for 472 or 74 crore were there in individual of these schemes. Question is not only to increase the quantum under these schemes, but how many of that MSMEs are really going and availing these? There are very limited number of them, they are availing it. So the support and guidance is required, and I'm sure workshops like this will help them to understand there are many more areas which probably they are not explored and they should explore. The government of India has been doing more for energy transition, which is very interesting, not specifically mentioned under your MSME scheme. But energy transition is, a number of things are happening in the country. Production linked incentive is coming, and some of them are linked to newer technologies. FAME scheme is there, faster adoption of hybrid and electric vehicle, which is again promoting energy transition. And third is your tracking of energy transition accelerator. There is again a funding available platform for holistic energy transition strategies that they fund. I have seen even UP government circular 3 days back for MSME to shift their DG set to be more environment friendly. There was a subsidy which was there. I'm sure people would be taking advantage of such schemes as and when they are announced. Another very interesting aspect which government can do, that they can start closely tracking the Indian rank on energy transition index. It has improved 4 notches. Out of 130, we are 64 now, 62, 64 now. We have jumped from 4 notches from last year to this year. But there are areas, industries, and venues where that concerted effort can be made, and people can be approached that why they are not able to utilize these benefits which are available, so that they go up the ladder and country as a whole shifts to the transition. What do you ask, Ashutosh?
Thank you, Pranav-ji. This was very insightful for all of us to know, especially about the government initiatives for the MSME. I am sure the participants will be enriched with this information. Of course, as Dr. Anta says, one of the aspects and one of the bottleneck and the key challenges is also the awareness. So these type of sessions, of course, webinars also help them to know about what are the schemes and the suggestions also that comes from their side. Coming to the Dr. Ananta Singh, I have another questions for you is basically on the water, your favorite topic. What sort of incentives do MSME needs to boost the adoption of sustainable water management practices?
Great. So I'm glad Pranay brought up UP a little while ago. See, between Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and UP, 40% MSMEs are there. Right? So these three states, Tamil Nadu, UP, and Maharashtra, are contributing 40% MSMEs. So even if we were to just focus on these three states, and if these three states came out with something interesting as an incentivization, whether it is knowledge education or whether it is, reduction in any taxes or reduction in the interest rate for their loans, anything, financial benefit, from an image point of view, from a rating point of view, today all sorts of rating agencies are available. So if MSMEs can also be rated, they will also feel very proud that yes, there is a star or a certification that they have got for being like you have a good citizen, you have a good MSME. Something can be created on those lines which incentivizes them financially also, from an image point of view also, from a customer perception point of view also. Also, another basket which we should very carefully look at is the successful MSMEs. Now, for the successful MSMEs to take a step forward, in any positive direction is always easier. Unsuccessful or struggling MSME, you go to them and tell them अब ये और करिए आप, तो वो एक problem लगता है. लेकिन जो successful MSMEs हैं, mostly they are in the category of oil and gas, electronics, they are in packaging, they are in auto spare parts, they are also in chemicals. So all of them are working in that. Now, ESG को आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह से G को good governance बोला. The problem is कि E हमारा environment नहीं, E हमारा exploitation of environment हो गया है. And that part, if we can fix, everything else is fine, because our social aspect is only shredding the environment, nothing else. At every stage, if you see, there is wastage and consumption and wastage and consumption. So today, if you see so many startups, so many micro industries are actually working on recycling, reusing, so that whole circular economy has to be given a very serious thought by replenishing whatever we are utilizing. So there was this whole phase when the mall revolution happened. We were also part of it. हम भी उसी में जिसे कहते हैं ना, we've also walked in that river and come out. The malls came up and, more than what we needed, we were buying, consuming, wasting, everything was going on. But today, so much of consciousness and awareness is there. I saw some, little ad which popped up while I was on Facebook the other day, and it said, "We will buy your old clothes." I mean, can you imagine? Could you have imagined 5 years back that through the internet, there will be a place where you can actually sell your old clothes, furniture, ये सब तो OLX वगैरह तो हो ही रहा है काफी टाइम से, but that also. So let us not waste anything. Everything is of use somewhere. And I would, in fact, really request startups, MSMEs, everybody to seriously think on the circular economy part also. Because if you are passionate about reusing, recycling, replenishing, then you can actually come up with a model also where you are creating best out of waste.
Thank you, ma'am. So,
Thank you.
of course, circular economy is something that we will also. You remember when I was working with the CII at that time, this concept of circular economy,
Yes.
2017, that was time, and I'm sure much progress have been made, and I'm sure there will be a time that will be more seeing such type of ads. Also, you given very a prominent example that using those clothes. Okay, because many times for us also, as you said, consumption has become more like a social status or social symbol. And in
Yes.
longer run, it also creates a mindset which is
Yes.
good for the society. As coming to Pranayji, this last question from our side is: what, in your opinion, are the three practices that MSMEs need to adopt to boost sustainable development of industrial areas?
Yeah, rather than enumerating three punch points, I would like to take this discussion in one direction. This has been oft discussed what MSME should do. See, there are only two ways where MSME can be encouraged to adopt this. One is when they do it proactively. Second is they put some act or stringent regulation, and nobody wants to be called or caught that they are not rule compliant. Now, if you talk about the first one, which is proactive, I mean, we should start talking about proactiveness. There are three areas. It has been seen that in general that management should enjoy that they are loving sustainability. It should not be only quotes or jargons. They should really believe in it. And that belief starts from very small things. For example, do they take print out very often or they take print with caution? Do they ensure that none of the taps are leaking? Do they ensure that if somebody is not in bathroom and that light goes for a dim? So they are very small things. It doesn't cost much. There are only sensors available at a very, very fraction of the cost today. And all these are possible. So that is a corporate commitment. Then another area which is very important for them, are they communicating with a clear message to win a loyal clientele? Today's clientele is very, very, fussy, and they are very, very choosy. Given the similar type of cost structure, that apparently the organization which is more sustainability compliant, people would love to go and do business with them or will become a client of them rather than one who are around the mill. So this differentiation is very clear. In Western world, it has very clearly come. In India also it is happening, but in the beginning, this approach has been adopted by the biggies. But for MSME, there is a large differentiation possible because of this. The third area is very important. Who is the other stakeholder for the organization? Is the employees. Now, in generation Y, which is the today's world, organization is connected within a community program, there is a better method to engaging employee with the organization. And this is the third wherein you can see that MSME can take benefit. These all three are proactive steps which can help the organization to be more sustainability oriented without much of cost. And this is proactive. The other area which is regulation related. Now, which government can do for them is by incentivizing or by ensuring that adopting cleaner technology, wastage reduction, and operational efficiency. Mind you, why corporate would be interested in such regulation? Because through their forum, the one what Resurgent is doing right now, through some different industry forums, like Naredco can undertake this, benchmark can be created and everybody has to do minimum that benchmark. If it is a water flow or energy usage, minimum this below is not acceptable. Because this is not only going to help them, means they will become more profitable also. Promoting such strategies in sourcing, production, disposal, and distribution in entire value chain. Now, herein, like European Union has done it, the traceability is important. So if you will not trace what is happening in what part of the value chain, naturally you will not be able to answer. This is happening in GST today. In case your supplier buyer GST chain is not there, you find that you are not able to get benefit out input credit. So is the case. This thing is brought in supply chain here, and traceability is important. Naturally, initial stage the compliance cost will go up, but in long run, not only will be able to do our present better, we will be able to leave a better future for our next generation. Ashutosh, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And so there are a couple of points I would also like to add. Taking a clue from you, sir, of course, I do agree. And I'm sure that what we have also been seeing is, how these program ESGs are driven. Because in the concept that we have seen, especially on the governance side, there is a talk of compliance-driven initiatives. And of course, second is ethical-driven initiative. So more of a tick box exercise. And one example that you gave, and I can, easily connect with what is happening in the litigation side also. In the courts, we have to print a lot of documents and, filing applications, petitions, and all. So I've seen one of the improvement where earlier it was single side and then it becomes a double side. Now we have a e-filing I'm advocating record in Supreme Court, and for the last 1 year, I hardly made any print out. So everything is e-file except the wakalatnama that we have to get it signed. So, that's a small step, I'd say, but, I don't know. I don't have any data to quantify what is being saved, but I am firm believer that something is being saved. So not only just industry, but also in sectors like litigations and all, small steps do make a lot of changes. Coming to you, ma'am, you have given a very important and interesting data about the presence of the MSMEs in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and UP. That is account for the 40%. So what comes into my mind is also that any linkages of governance within the state, because
Yes.
long back in 2008 there was one study about you know study I mean, of course, there's a public study about the what we say India corruption study, and the governance ranking of those states on those parameters. So the G part that comes in my mind is that, is there any linkages? That's also something. And as you rightly pointed out, what I believed, working with the CII for 1.5 years and leading a program on promotion and adoption of responsible practices. When I approached the MSMEs, the problems that they shared with me is handholding. Okay, where to
Yes.
get information? Where associations like of yours and other can take a lead. They do hand holding and also help them, because many times we do face challenges. You know, I'm focusing more on the governance aspect, where many times people have to somehow, uh, I don't want to use those words, but at some point you have to, facilitate, I'll say, for sustenance also. So those aspects has to be addressed, because as Pranay ji has rightly said, we can't just dictate them that you have to do and all. One is an incentive-based model where people get in line that, yes, there is a benefit. If I adopt it, I will become a part of a global supply chain. Second is not just about the regulation, because people will find a way. So that's all the thoughts, and would like to have a quick comments from both of you, maybe 2 minutes. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. So my request to the entire audience here is that all of you are highly accomplished individuals of our country and very respectable positions you all are holding in your area, wherever you are sitting, whatever you are doing. If you can spread this message of saving water, and as well as that, as far as power is concerned, if they can use renewable energy as much as possible, whether it is solar, wind, depending on wherever you are taking your decisions, it will be a great step forward for benefiting not only our nation but also our planet long term. And thank you so much for your patient listening to our conversation today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will share two things. One is what we have done organizationally, and second, what we have done as a consulting organization to our clients. Organizationally, what I have done, or we have first thing we made one change in our printing network printer, that the moment a person gives a printing command, it doesn't print. A person has to go to that machine, select the document and print, because many times previous printing commands were also going. And now we have mapped it with respect to the employee code and the project code. So the moment it is done, our reduction in printing has taken place by 50%. So almost 50% reduction in printing we have achieved. Similar thing we have attempted in water and wastages, other things. Coming to the organization part, in terms of what we are providing to our clients, so we have been consultant to smart city project of Government of India for multiple projects. Name a city, whether it is Moradabad or Kanpur or Madurai or Itanagar, everywhere we found one area in terms of water. Wherever water was there, water metering and smart metering. Without that, water again goes waste. And smart metering has helped the client in one go, and everybody has been agreeing that yes, smart metering is of great help, because non-revenue water, which the government is very much clear, because you spend lots of money on sourcing water, treating it, pumping it, but you don't get any revenue out of it. So NRW in our country is pretty high. And if you can reduce even some percentage of it, the government can save lots of money, and it is also sustainable. So that is another area where we have been able to help the government to achieve it. Another some are there in the traffic signaling. Whenever you do smart signaling, the vehicle which normally they don't stop at the traffic signal. So if you reduce their waiting time, that means you are balancing that, how much time that, traffic will be on and off, and that we have attempted in the smart traffic signaling, and thereby we understand that fuel cost reduction has taken place in the country. So that has also happened. So there are a number of things for sustainability we have helped. In construction industry also, we construction and demolition waste is the area where which is creating lots of issues. If you make unnecessary construction, it comes into demolition, and if you are demolishing, how much you are recycling, so circular economy comes in play. So we have been attempting that how much can be used in landfill, and to large part of one area in the design itself we get involved to ensure that the land which is cut is used and filled rather than you make unnecessary extra excavation. However, we are still saying, despite all this and learned audience here, what we have found that awareness and concern for environment still needs such forums to keep on highlighting it, because what we have seen there, that wherever that at construction sites we have seen, there is an air pollution, there is a water pollution, there is a sound pollution, but they maintain these records only for the inspector when they visit. It should be done for every day, so that we are really, if we are meaning this environmental or sustainability quotient to go up, so this should become a way of our life. I had seen one of the Japanese side, the project manager himself used to go for a housekeeping visit and used to himself pick up the garbage and put it, rather than waiting for some rag picker to come or some sweeper to do it. And every week, 1 hour used to be dedicated to only housekeeping and keeping this. So lots of changes we need to do behaviorally and our practices, so that this happens and happens everywhere overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav. Now, house is open for the discussion, and I'll take a few questions for next 10 minutes. So one question, and a speaker may decide, and both of you are open to answer it. So there is a question from Reena. It says, getting certification is very expensive. Can the certification process be pocket friendly? Pranay, Ananta, anyone?
See, certification process, Government of India has already made an effort. Some schemes have come wherein if you are getting your, say, what you call system or machinery audited and obtain certification, part of this is subsidized, government provides subsidy towards it. The real issue is not that it is difficult. The question is, when you do not have systems in place, you do not have traceability, naturally when you attempt for it, your cost goes up. So if you start making efforts toward traceability, I've seen that in a construction site, they wanted to get LEED certification. But again, in LEED certification, they have got component. In case you are buying a window, aluminum window, so that window provider also has to share with you how much energy they have consumed. But in our country, very few window provider will give you their energy usage and traceability. As a result, getting a certification was difficulty. So it not only takes extra cost, it also takes extra time, and it becomes sometime a big bottleneck. So as a system, when we keep such awareness in the entire value chain, this traceability comes. It is possible to for us to migrate there, as well as get the subsidy which is available from government.
Right. I'll come to the another question. There's there's a problem statement, I'd say. There's a problem, and I'm expecting the speakers to may suggest some way to gentleman Mr. Dharmendra Singh. His question starts as, I started a company called Parama for providing kirana on the door of the consumers, but struggling in the partnership with big brands and banks for providing low cost credit to the customer. The question is, what should I do to provide better cost effective and provide credit to the customer? Maybe off the track, Anyone like to advise? Maybe not directly linked to the ESG. I'd say it's more of a credit or
I didn't get the question. One has started company and wants to avail some.
yes, says that it started a company, so and so name, for providing kirana on the door of the consumers, but struggling in partnership with big brands and banks for providing low cost credit to the customer. The question is, what should I do to provide better cost effective and to provide credit to the customers?
Right. So, as I understand the way this works, whether it is Blinkit or Zomato or anyone else, uh, there is a store and there's a central warehouse, and everything is supplied from the central warehouse. So, every month, X amount of inventory of a certain type, whether it is, let's say, coffee of this brand, let's say Nescafe, so much, this, that, and the other is taken and that is consumed. The problem only occurs in case you are taking more inventory than what you can stock out. So I think inventory management at one level would be a key. Second is understanding the market which you are catering to, because this is Kirana is a very local story, you know. So what is the circle of reference for you? Is it a 1 kilometer radius, 5 kilometer radius, 10 kilometer radius? What is the scale at which you are planning to cater to the home delivery as far as the Kirana story is concerned? Those logistics also, so inventory on one side, logistics on the other. But third, and which is a very broad and general answer that I'm giving you, is that anything that works out very expensive when you're doing business, gets that problem gets solved only through collaboration, partnership, and sharing of the uh, ultimate financial benefits that you are getting. So if there is a good balance in that, uh, the bigger the brand, the more they'll want their inventory to move out, and bigger their capacity to take risk also. So so that's broadly it. I think inventory management, understanding your competition, understanding your market, and also doing contracts with people which are a win-win for both parties. Yeah.
What you have already spoken, Dr. Raghuvanshi. I just want to add one point here. Uh, People have normally been spending time on others, but understanding the consumer, their behavior, and seasonality is very, very important. Without understanding that, if you try to attempt, what may happen that suddenly flavor may change. You may store something and that may not be required in either in terms of that number or frequency. So seasonality during the year, flavor of the time, and the consumer requirement. Some research is required. India is very well, a very less researched market. I remember I was there in Hyderabad. One builder had done large construction, thinking that in Miapur near IT city, all he will be able to sell. But what he didn't research on, who are the other builders making it, and as a result, later on, what they found, there are more supplies than the demand. So it may happen, and it may happen at the small level. It may happen at the large level as well.
Very valid point. And another point is that, already, apps which are doing home delivery of Kirana items, you have to have something special which they are not doing and you can provide. Because if you don't have that USP, even for a buyer to kind of tie in with you, why would they do that? If somebody is already serving a certain purpose, and if you want them to move from there to you, then you have to have an add-on and certain benefits which are not available there, which are available through you. So you'll have to see and identify your own USP also. And then that USP, you must inform the brands that this USP is available, you know. So let's say if Blinkit is providing puja flowers every morning and milk both. So you are providing puja flowers and milk, and what else? So, so what are the things that people in your area need every day, every weekend? Understand their buyer behavior and their pattern, and see how you are better equipped than everybody else to provide that also. Value addition is the key for any business to be successful and for any brand and customer both. Forward integration and backward integration to have respect for you.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. And I think with this, we are in the last leg of our today's webinar. And I don't think there is any other questions left. And if if there are any questions and queries, please do write to the CII, and we'll be very happy to address those. So I take this opportunity to thank both of you, Dr. Sorry, no, I'm mixing with Dr. Pranay. So it's Mr. Pranay Kumar and also Dr. Anita for your time and valuable suggestions, feedbacks, and also exposing us to the various facets of the ESG, which is quite fascinating, and also encouraging us and the participants also to adopt those things, starting from our lives, both professional as well as the personal areas. So thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the organizer, Risha, and other team members who have done a lot of effort reaching out. I'll also like to thank the participant who we are there since 4 o'clock, and now it's around 5 that we are going to be a lot of questions that has come from them. Thank you very much. And it was lovely having you here, ma'am and sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks. We thoroughly enjoyed the interaction and the questions and your moderation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you,
Thank you.
Pranay. And thank you, wonderful audience. Thanks, Resurgent.
Yeah,
All the best.
Thank you.